We're back. Another week down. This one a little different than the ones that we've done before. Doing trucks this week, obviously. If anyone's kept up with it so far. Now, this is going to be a little different because we usually like to cover things like Nürburgring times to stack them up against each other a little better, see how they really do. But with mid-sized trucks, can't do that.
They don't have Nürburgring times. Nobody wants to take those around a track.
I bet someone does. They just... No professional person wants to do it.
Yeah, they're not allowed to.
The Nürburgring's a tiny track.
Yeah.
They might be tiny trucks, but they're still trucks. So, anyways, we'll start off with the first one we did this week, the Chevrolet Colorado. The only one on this list to have 3 different engine options. It has a 200 horsepower 4-cylinder that no one will ever buy. Ever. No one's going to buy that one.
At least not here.
It has a 306 horsepower V6 option, which is pretty good. That one's probably going to be the second most sought after. And probably the first one, which is in the ZR2, is the only 181 horsepower, but 356 torque diesel. And that only comes in the ZR2 and the ZR2 Bison. What a name. Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 Bison.
It's really long-winded.
Big name. So, I like that one a lot. We've seen some up close and personal. They're very nice on the inside. They look like they're pretty comfortable. They have an actual full bed, which we'll get into why that's a big thing later.
In my opinion, compared to some of the other trucks on this list, they do sit a little tall.
They do. They are definitely higher. They do come with a factory 2-inch lift and everything for the ZR2 at least. But I like them. They're pretty. They're good looking.
Yeah.
The next one we talked about was the Ford Ranger. Now, Ford Ranger isn't. Usually we like to do vehicles that are out, but the Ford Ranger is guaranteed out for 2019, so it'll probably be beginning of next year, which is kind of weird for cars that it hasn't come out the year before, but oh well. So we know what engine is going to be in it, but we don't know exact horsepower, torque, towing specs. We don't know the real fine details about it. It is coming with the same engine as the Ford Focus RS and the Ford Mustang. So I believe it is a 2.7 liter turbo engine. In the Mustang, it makes 310 horsepower. In the Focus, it makes 350, so it's tuned a little bit different, even though it's the same engine. It could be down. They could tune it down to in the 200s, like 280, 290, something like that, for whatever reason they want. Maybe fuel economy, whatever they're trying to get after.
I imagine they're probably going to make them a little torqueier, fuel economy, like you said.
Yeah. If they do put it around 300, that'll be good for them because that'll be right next to the Colorado. But the Ranger Raptor, which is getting a diesel option like the Colorado, won't be sold in America, at least as of right now. Ford did come out and have a pretty good explanation as to why, at least I think so. They said that they weren't going to sell it here because we already have a Raptor. So America, the Ford CEO, I believe, came out and said, America gets the Raptor, the F-150 Raptor, so the rest of the world gets the Ranger Raptor. So technically, you could say we're getting the better end of the deal.
Me.
But we always want to have the opportunity to get the next coolest thing.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's a shame, but oh well. Can't do anything about it. Truck looks good. It's going to be about the exact same size, and maybe just I think it's a few inches different, but about the exact same size as the Colorado, and they're going to be the real 2 competitors when it comes out. And something interesting about the Colorado that I forgot to mention is it has an 8-speed transmission, which is a big deal compared to the rest of this list. The Ford Ranger will probably come with Ford's 10-speed, I imagine, since they're putting that in everything. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Now, the Toyota Tacoma comes at 278 horsepower, so we're getting a little bit less as we go here. Of course, we don't know the Ranger, but hopefully it'll be around 300. 278, so it's not that bad, but it comes with a 6-speed manual, and it's pretty outdated. It's still a very good truck, but if you get in the interior of a brand new Tacoma,
it looks the same as a 2014 or 2012.
It looks like you're going back in time compared to what's out nowadays. So that is a bit of a shame about the Tacoma, and they haven't changed the front of it. They haven't changed the design of it very much. Now, it's not too crazy, but it'd be nice. and it only comes with a 6-speed automatic, and that is, I understand the point of it. The point is for towing ability and for 4-wheel drive, going through rough terrain, stuff like that. You do want a slightly smaller gear transmission, so you have stronger gears, basically. But I mean, can they really not do the same thing with an 8-speed, something that shifts better on the highway and just going through town? Because it's not like, so if you get a Tacoma TRD Pro, which is the highest end, that's your off-road thing and everything. It's not like it's only going to be off-road.
And I don't mean to stereotype or nothing, but around these parts, we don't really see a whole lot of Tacomas going off-road or not. It's mostly just a bunch of older guys or something driving them.
Yeah.
And it's just to haul around like their dogs or something.
Mm-hmm. A few pieces of wood for the weekend,
Yeah.
whatever. Since Tacomas they're pretty expensive, especially a TRD Pro and everything. That's when you're getting to that 40 plus range, and
Yeah.
I imagine if the dealer puts clear bond tint and stuff on it before it even gets to you, it'll be in the $50,000 range, somewhere in there. And I always like to talk about this. The person that wants this truck for off-roading can't afford it. The guy that wants to take this off-roading is in his early 20s and stuff like that. He wants to go up the trails and things. Not to say that every Tacoma owner is an old guy that doesn't want to use it, or maybe there are some older gentlemen that do actually use it for its purposes, but the majority of that group is definitely probably 25s, 27s, maybe even younger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're the ones that actually want to take it out and go through the river and stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys who can afford it and do want to use it for that kind of thing, they might just say, fuck it, and go get like a big, like, F-350 diesel or one of the bigger Chevy Silverados or something. Yeah, something they can tow around their big fifth wheel
and actually have like even more fun. So, they're still really good, but I think the Tacoma's a little too expensive, and it's just starting to fall behind everyone else. My favorite on this list.
It's not, and Tacoma's not gonna fall behind this one though.
No. The legendary Nissan Frontier.
I think the correct term is infamous.
the fucking, oh my god, this thing sucks. So it has 2 engines, so it's better than the Tacoma and Ranger for that respect, and the Ridgeline. But one of them is a 151 horsepower 4-cylinder. Oh my god.
Most SUVs or sedans have more than that.
I believe let's just do a really small sedan, an entry-level Honda Civic LX. That is your base model. That thing comes with 158, I believe. It's better than the Frontier. The Frontier is such a weird vehicle, especially for its category. It is by far the cheapest, and it shows. Hasn't been updated in years. I don't know why Nissan still makes it, especially since their Titan just got the Cummins and everything. Like, they're making the Titan a very nice truck. It has a Platinum Edition that's like $75,000 or something like that. They put a lot of work into the Titan. They have completely forgot about the Frontier.
Yeah, even the Frontier, what was it, this last year? They just barely started putting AC on it as a stock option. 2017,
air conditioning became standard. What does that mean? That means before 2017, you had to have that as an option. You had to pay extra to get air conditioning on your Frontier. That's crazy. I don't, like, that has to be probably, like, one of the last vehicles to get air conditioning and stand that's being sold in the U.S. that isn't a hypercar.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I mean, what? That one just throws me for a loop. Major complaints about the Nissan are the only update on the outside it's had is from like 2009, I believe, and it got a little bit of an updated front fascia, but otherwise the body's completely the same. Not to say that the body's horrible. It does have that cool like rack thing on, and it's all right. Its other engine is a 261 horsepower motor, but both of these are paired to a 5-speed transmission. Like, they are really trying to cut the costs on this truck.
So most of what we are talking about is automatic transmissions.
Yes.
Not a lot of vehicles today come with manuals.
I believe you can get a manual on the Frontier. It is a 6-speed, so if you get a Frontier, get the manual. And I believe you can get a manual in the Tacoma. It's also a 6-speed manual, but there's for specific
They're like
trims.
base model ones. They're like the lowest cost Tacomas.
But I mean, if you're getting a Frontier, you might as well get the 6-speed just so you have another deer. Because that's like a 5-speed being sold in 2018 is ridiculous. 5 speeds went away in like 2010. Everyone from then on, and even your 2007 Audi has a 6-speed in it.
Yeah.
Now yours is for the time period was a much nicer car, so that makes sense. But I believe I have a friend that has a 2010 Charger, and it's a 5-speed and stuff, and like that's how long ago 5 speeds were being used. That's crazy. And then finish this list off. We have the Honda Ridgeline. It's different than the rest, like the Frontier, but different in a different way. It is a luxury party truck.
It's more like a Pilot that they just dropped the third row seating and gave it a truck bed.
Yes. If you think of this truck, you think tailgating, you think of block parties or something, you think of having a good time.
It's got a cooler in the bed.
Yes. The bed is about half as deep as every other truck on this list, even the Frontier. It's about cut in half because if you open the tailgate, there's a little latch that you can fold up about half the bed, and there is a massive trunk that also has a drain in the bottom so you can fill it up with ice and have your own cooler in the back of your Ridgeline. Also built into the bed is 4 speakers. So you can turn on your music, have it play through the bed, and have yourself a good old time. It is the most expensive its base price is the most expensive at 30 grand. Everyone else starts in the 20,000s, and the Frontier starts at 18. But it starts at 30, so that's pretty expensive. But it makes sense if you get in one. They're pretty comfy. They're not bad looking. They don't look like Avalanches anymore.
Yeah,
they got rid of that, which is
finally
that was a very good thing to do. It's pretty new. This body design has only been out for a couple years, and we'll see if it continues. It comes in with 280 horsepower, so it's on par with everyone else in the V6 range. Of course, the Colorado's doing the best, but it's doing better than the Tacoma TRD Pro, so it's not bad. Does have a 2-wheel drive option or an all-wheel drive option.
In our area, we don't see the 2-wheel drives at all.
Ever. And to be honest, you probably never will. I mean, a dealer's just gonna... It's like one trim level up, so maybe a couple grand, maybe 2,000 or 3,000. So they're probably just always gonna get the all-wheel drive one. And that's a good thing to mention is these the first 4, because we don't know about the Ranger, but it's gonna have 4-wheel drive. These all have 4-wheel drive, while the Ranger the Ridgeline has all-wheel drive. The difference between that is an all-wheel drive system is typically a bit smarter, and it's always in play. So a lot of times it is detecting how much power it needs to send to each wheel, and sometimes it'll just drive in 2-wheel drive. So while you're driving on the highway or whatever, it'll most likely be in a 2-wheel drive state. There are some all-wheel drive cars that are always in all-wheel drive, like things like your Nissan GTR and your Audi R8. Those have constant all-wheel drive systems. With a car like this, or a truck I should say, is most likely, can't say for sure, but there's no reason why I would need all-wheel drive then.
Also, I imagine it's on more of a SUV platform, not a truck platform, so it's probably got the SUV style all-wheel drive.
Yeah. And the difference for all-wheel drive is all-wheel drive, you have your high and low range, so you have to actually engage it whenever you want to use it. And it's kind of seen, technically they're both the same thing, as in they all drive all 4 wheels at the same time, but the 4-wheel drive system is a bit more, I don't want to say primitive, but it's more for harsher situations. It's to use like your low range, it's to really pull yourself out of somewhere. Like it's all torque and stuff like that. So all-wheel drive you want to use for places where it gets snowy and stuff in your area during the winter, where you have like rain and things, where you want all-wheel drive for when you're going down the trail, you're going through rivers and stuff. That's when you really want all-wheel drive. Or if you're actually towing something out of the snow and things like that. So that's kind of the difference between all-wheel and 4-wheel drive. Basically the same thing, just slight changes. So since we can't talk about Nürburgring times, we are going to talk about what these vehicles are built for. Typically, towing. Usually you buy a truck to fill the bed and tow something behind you. I mean, all these pretty much come with... I mean, you won't it is an option, but they're all going to come with tow hitches and stuff like that will be put on by the dealership. So Colorado, I'm not going to say by far the best, but is the best at 7,000 pounds with the ZR2 option. That's a lot of weight to be able to pull behind you. That is another Colorado and 2,000 pounds or so put in the bed of that other Colorado that you're able to pull. So you could pull a Colorado. So your Colorado ZR2 could pull another one and a Miata behind it.
Yeah.
And still be good. Ranger, we don't know, but if it has a 300 horsepower gasoline engine, it'll probably be in the 5,000 range because that's what the Colorado is, and at 280, that's what the Ridgeline is. Ridgeline also 5,000, so that is the least amount on this list. But the Ridgeline it's a luxury truck. It's not. It's a luxury.
It's a good base number for them all to have.
But it is beaten out by the Frontier at 6,300. So the Frontier does 1,300 more pounds than the Ridgeline. So that is, I guess you could say that's interesting. It's not crazy. The Frontier is definitely more like the others in the fact that it's more of a truck. The Ridgeline is definitely a beast of its own. It's very nice to drive. If you get a nice black edition with the leather seats and everything, heated steering wheel, heated cooled seats and everything, like, they are very nice to be in and be in for long periods. Frontier, not so much. Like, the amount of, think back to like early 2000s when everything was plastic and stuff like that, like everything, and it's all like it doesn't feel nice to touch and stuff like that. That's kind of what the Frontier is. That's because that's how it gets such a cheap price. And the Tacoma is at 6,700 pounds, so a little bit behind the Colorado, but still very good. Again, that's a Tacoma that could pull another Tacoma, and not a whole nother car, but it could pull some other stuff. A very decent trailer and things like that. I imagine the Ranger Raptor with the diesel option will probably be in the Colorado range of 7,000 plus pounds, so also very good, but that's what you get with having a diesel. And that's what you get when you get 356 torque and things like that. 181 horsepower, not quick, but it's a brute. It can pull itself out of anywhere. It can pull whatever it wants behind it.
Yeah. Then you don't see a whole lot of mid-sized trucks with diesels in them.
Yeah, not really.
Usually it's the bigger, like the 3,500 Rams or
when you get your full size, that's when you usually get your diesel options or your Volkswagen Jettas.
That's it.
Or what? Those things are not fun to drive. But that was this list. Obviously, if we just look at stats alone, Colorado wins, but that one also seems to, in my mind, has the most thought put into it. That one has the most love behind its dealership going for, or its manufacturer going for. Chevy put a lot of effort into the Colorado, and it showed. Looks like Ford's doing the same thing, but we don't have any information on it right now. Tacoma starting to lag behind. Frontier, why are they still making it? And Ridgeline is a nice SUV with a bed.
Yeah.
So Colorado wins, and that's not saying that like we like Chevy. It's just stats alone, it wins. Ford could beat it out. It just depends if they want to do 310 horsepower with its V6, or maybe they want to do the RS version, do 350. That'd be cool. Wouldn't get greatest gas mileage, but it'd be cool. Little tiny race truck. It'd be like an old GMC Cyclone. That's a cool truck. If no one knows what that is,
right?
look at the GMC Cyclone. And if you can, look at the four-wheel steering one. That's an interesting truck. Just like the Honda Prelude that had four-wheel steering.
If it did.
It did. It was the Prelude, yeah. That's the only two cars I know of that have four-wheel steering. That means like all your wheels turn together, which is very peculiar. Anyways, next week I want to get into something. I based this week off of some news that we just got. McLaren just released their Speedtail, their McLaren F1 successor, and it is a very cool looking car. It's like most McLarens. It's very flat and it's very slender and smooth. Lamborghinis are very flat and everything, but this is different because it's it has no edges anywhere. It's just nice and curvy. But it is a hybrid, and that gets into our next week of hybrid supercars. So right off the top of your head, you're thinking LaFerrari, Porsche 918, McLaren P1. Those all came around out at the same time, roughly around each other, and they're the big three competitors. All very fast car, all near 1,000 horsepower, and I think the LaFerrari is 1,000 horsepower. The Porsche and McLaren, I believe, are just a few below. They all don't weigh anything. They all have hybrid powertrains, while the LaFerrari has the least amount of hybrid, while the Porsche is a full plug-in. And then, to keep the theme going, we're going with a car that's kind of died down. Not a lot of people talk about it much anymore, but the BMW i8. That is a very cool-looking car, and it only has a 3-cylinder.
Yeah, I know around its release, it got really popular. Like, you had various like TV shows, stuff showing it off.
You know, everyone was it's just because it looked so different, and it was the first like major hybrid supercar that BMW released. They do make, if I'm not mistaken, they make a hybrid like 5 Series and stuff like that. They're still very quick, but this is at again a different level. And then not one that a lot of people know about, not that they don't know about, but they don't necessarily think of it as hybrid, is the Acura NSX, the new one. That will be interesting because that's one that people have had a lot of talks about. Like, is it good enough? Is it worth it? It's basically the Ford GT in a sense.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those ones that's probably a little bit more expensive than what it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but we'll get into those at the beginning of next week. And speaking about news, obviously, Speedtail, 250 mile per hour time, or speed, and that was a number that came out, like, if that number was said 5 years ago, so 2013, everyone would have went, like, no, it can't do that, but it could be, yeah. But nowadays, 250 mile per hour is just like, and it's McLaren saying it, so they just went, everyone went, okay, I believe it. Sure, I bet it can do 250. I bet it could go faster. So that's cool that, like, McLaren has definitely earned their spot amongst everyone with the 570 and 720S, just proving that they're kind of making a better car than everyone else. Tiny issue with the Speedtail. Tiny one.
It's not street legal.
It's not street legal. Other little issue. $2.1 million.
I think that's a big issue.
little issue.
Well, it is also going to be, they're only making like 106 of them.
Yeah, so obviously very limited and everything. But the not street legal thing, that throws me for a loop. Why would you make a car this expensive?
Oh,
and also
3 seating.
Yeah. So seat in the center, 2 on each side of it, like the McLaren F1. That's why they're kind of saying it's the successor. So it's basically like a spaceship cockpit. You're fucking captain. You got everyone behind you. I bet it's very cool driving if you're allowed to drive it. Just to get it over in the States, you have to use some show car only law, which means you're only ever going to have it shown in a car show kind of thing, and you'll probably have to trailer, not probably, you will have to trailer it there, park it in there, leave it there, and then trailer it home. You're not allowed to drive this car on the street. And then you go, well, I mean, it's 250 miles, it seems like a track car. It is and it isn't. It is in the sense that it has the power and specs with 1,000 plus horsepower and everything, but it doesn't have major downforce. It's very smooth and slender. It's
like,
not...
McLaren just released a Senna.
Yes.
You look at that, track monster.
It's got a massive diffuser, big wing, crazy aero stuff going on everywhere. Yeah. It's got holes everywhere.
And it's more of like a reactive wing, so like when you slow down, it bends to kind of help with downforce.
So they got that thing, the Senna is crazy, and that thing is super light. It's a very raw experience. But McLaren came and set out that the Speedtail is going to be a very luxurious car. Sorry about that. Fuck me. So it's just weird that they're doing it like that. That they're saying it's going to be a very nice car to drive, except you're not allowed to drive it anywhere.
Yeah.
I do want to know what about it makes it not street legal. Maybe it doesn't have mirrors or something like that. I'm curious about what it is that makes it not street legal. But also, in the same vein of hybrid and electric cars and everything, VW came out this last week and said that they can, by 2020, so, I mean, technically, like...
This is more of a claim, and it's kind of high up there in claims.
So they say by 2020, so we got 2 months left of 2018, and we got a year of 2019, and then it's 2020, so like a year and a couple months before it's 2020. They say that they will have cars, electric vehicles that are better than Teslas at half the price.
So in my mind, I'm giving them till November of 2019. So they've got a year.
Yeah, and if they want to be like a production model 2020 vehicle, then this should be pretty much done around then. Or they should at least have a car shown and unveiled that is capable of all this.
At least by then, they should have at least a production of a concept.
Mm-hmm. Something that they've shown at car shows that actually drives around, and they have whatever driving through streets and stuff like that, like the Corvette C8, where you get your spy shots of people trying to follow and stuff like that. Should be happening at least by that time. They should have it being pretty close to ready. But half the price. So what is half the price of a Tesla? If we're talking Model 3, if you go to Tesla's website, it says that the Model 3 starts at $35,000. But after delivery and all this other stuff, it's about $40,000. And depending on the spec of the vehicle, wheels.
So they're saying somewhere in the 25 or 20-ish range, something like that.
But if they're basing it off of 35, then that's $17,000 for. And in my mind, if it has to at least have like 300-mile range. That's about what I think the Model 3 does, like 280 at its base.
Yeah.
And that's not with the extended life battery or anything. So it's got to be in that area. Also, something that Tesla has that VW won't is its supercharging infrastructure. So all around the country, there are these supercharger stations that you go drive to, pull your Tesla and charge it right there and then on the spot. And also, for a lot of customers, it's free, but I believe if you buy a lower model, you have to like buy into it. It's like $1,000 for free charging for life. VW is going to have to try to do that because that is actually a very nice thing about Tesla.
Yeah, especially around this like parts of the country, like up here in the northern Midwest area, you don't see a whole lot of electric car stations.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went down to Utah and we saw one at a hotel. That was probably the first one I've ever seen.
Yeah. So VW's got that's a big claim. There's a lot that they have to get right. And also the vehicle that they had is like a concept rendering of an electric vehicle, at least for this news article, was some shit ass looking Golf thing.
Yeah.
Like a Golf from the future that's been electrified, and it looked awful. Yeah. But still sticking with the hybrid theme, there have been reports of Chevrolet asking Camaro owners if they would ever be interested in a hybrid option. And some specs of a hybrid option have actually come out for the 4-cylinder one. They would have hybrids for 4-cylinder and the SS, so the V8. For the 4-cylinder, I believe it was 350 horsepower, so that's 50 horsepower gain. And then for the hybrid V8, they said that, so the regular SS makes around 450 horsepower. They said that they would get with a hybrid version to 540. That's a big horsepower jump. That's 90, almost 100. I bet it'd be expensive. I mean, your current SS is going for like 40, 50 grand, so it'd probably be 60-ish in there. But then again, when you're getting to that range, you're getting to ZL1 territory already. So it'll be interesting how they handle pricing with that. But if Chevrolet does come out with a hybrid, you said that Ford would pretty much have to do something about it.
Because so far we've had news of Ford either doing an electric or a hybrid Mustang, which all the rumors have been stating something about a 4-cylinder, so them doing something like out of one of their lower end cars, like a Focus or something like that. But if they want to compete anywhere near with like Chevy, they'd have to do one of their V8s or at least their EcoBoost engine or something.
And that whole photo that came out, I think that's going to be an all electric Mustang, which if they do decide to do that, like I feel like that's a couple years away from being made.
And I don't even think it should be a Mustang. I think they should just rebrand it as a different vehicle altogether.
Because there's also been talks about that vehicle being a Mustang, but a 4-door Mustang, and at that point that's a different car.
Yeah,
it's no longer a Mustang. That's a different vehicle. So if they do a hybrid, that'd be very cool. But a lot of
I think
people would like it.
Yeah, because why not be a tree hugger but also on a muscle car?
Yeah, with 540 horsepower. It's like they're like trying to like slowly push on you. Like, sure, we're Chevrolet. We
That-
like the environment.
That'd be a pretty good trip for some people. Camaro pulls up to the light and you didn't even hear it.
No, fuck yeah, I didn't even think about
All
that.
you heard was the whistling from the brakes.
Hopefully they don't pull a Honda and give it like the musical chimes. If you ever get a chance to come next to a hybrid Honda,
Like an Insight or something.
yeah, Insight or Clarity, when they are in full EV mode, they're just running on their electricity. Honda does this thing where they program. They call it music. It's not really music.
It sounds like really annoying chimes.
Yeah, it's this chime that comes through the brakes that once it's braking, it makes this noise so that pedestrians know that the vehicle is coming. That's a cool idea. That's a smart idea, but oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not a good noise. But in other big news, Audi R8, my favorite car of all time, best vehicle ever made by the human race, ever.
It's arguable.
Not debatable. It got a refresh. It has, for 2019, it's getting a new front face jack. It's getting pretty much all redesigned. It's getting more horsepower and stuff like that. So that's really cool for me. One day, Audi R8. And then in other supercar news, Lamborghini keeping the tradition going. They will never get away from their cars catching on fire.
So before he lists it, take a quick guess. 1, 2, 3.
Huracan. Didn't expect that. Everyone's like, oh yeah, the old Lamborghinis and stuff. There's a Gallardo caught on fire all the time. It killed 3 of its drivers before, just catching on fire. And that's been like always the cool things about Lamborghinis is they're so dangerous that yours might catch you on. You might die. There's a chance. So they're keeping that tradition going with the Lamborghini Huracan Performante Spider. A guy driving down the road. I don't know the exact issue with it, but caught on fire in the middle of an intersection.
I don't think they're trying to purposely make the cars light
They're
on
doing.
fire.
There's something in there. Once they reach like 12,000 miles, there's like a timer that like every time you turn the key, it's a random roll. Like eventually the ECU is like, oh shit, you're out of luck. This is it. This is it. Fucking get toasty, bitches.
Oh, you seem like you're cold.
Yeah. Turn on the heater once. Nah, gotcha. Oh, are you cold? Are you really that cold? Let me warm you up.
You got your roof down and everything. Let me help.
Yeah, so it's never cool to see a supercar on fire because it's real sad and everything, but that's funny stuff. Poor bastard. Driving a several $100,000 Lamborghini.
On the bright side, if he had full coverage, he just got a brand new one for free.
No, no, about free.
Oh,
I assume Lamborghini has to replace it. I assume it's like, dude, what the fuck? My car caught on fire. It tried to kill me. I assume Lamborghini has to be like,
the robots are rising.
Here's a new one. Fucking self-destruct, bitch. Geodude, no. Hopefully no others catch on fire, but hopefully some more catch on fire. Because I find it fucking funny as shit.
Hopefully it's in a safe environment where it can be stopped soon enough.
Hopefully it's in fucking traffic.
No.
What were you doing with your car on, bitch? Why are you driving your Lamborghini out around town? That's your fault. Now, what's interesting is cars that like Lamborghini does it, and Porsche did it for a while with their GT3. They caught on fire a few times. But like the real big boys, like you never hear about the Veyron catching on fire, and that's crazier than everyone else. That was a W16 quad turbo thing. Like if there was something designed to catch on fire, that's it. That's like as much like
I feel
compression and fire and just shit going on.
Because I think there was a thing that ticked in their back of their mind thinking, oh shit, this might catch on fire. We need to stop that.
It's like they had to design a special tire just so that it wouldn't destroy them going on the track. So they're probably pretty much smart, a little bit smarter, but I mean, like, why can't Lamborghini do that?
Because I think this is above designing tires and just destroy themselves.
I'm serious. Lamborghini's just like, fuck it.
They've got an entire car trying to destroy itself.
Yeah, they every once in a while they like do a test where like, oh, like some engineer comes over and they're like, hey, just to let you know, the car gets hot sometimes.
Here's some issues.
Like every once in a while we have a cooling issue for some reason, and they're just like, it's good.
No one's gonna drive it that much. Everyone who buys it's just gonna look at it in the garage.
Like fucking some Lamborghini executive just in his fucking office getting his fucking dick sucked. Just some little guy comes and hands a paper on his desk. We found some issues, sir. And he just fucking takes it, tears it in half again, throws it away, and just goes back to hanging out. That's how that went. But like that's a brand that just can't get away from catching on fire. You'd think they'd figure it out. Again, they want it to happen. That's just how fucking. But interesting, Audi R8s, they don't catch on fire, and that's the same motor. So what is Lamborghini doing? What do you got going on in there, Lamborghini?
Apparently, not a whole lot of what they need going on.
No, I bet they're air cooled engines. They don't even have radiators.
Let's bring it back to the 70s VWs.
Fucking the original Porsches and stuff like that. So that'll do it for today. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Anything you would like to know about detailing or anything, please let us know. Anything that maybe you think that we could do better on, let us know. As always, we are sorry about the audio issues that happened in the last little batch of detailing from scratch.
Still getting to know the camera.
Yes, yeah, that was my bad. Kept moving my thumb over the microphone. That won't happen again, or at least I'm really gonna try not to let it happen again. So that's our bad. But next week, hybrid supercars. So that'll be fun, and we will see you in the next episode.